Okay, good morning, Clay. If we can get some opening comments on this Thursday morning prior to the Stanford game.
Yeah, happy Thursday, everybody. It's really been a good week of work for our kids. Good 3 days. We'll finalize game plan today and get ready for an opening conference game at home at night. Should be an electric atmosphere and getting ready to play. I know a Stanford squad that will come determined and be well coached by Coach Shaw. So always an important game within our conference and something that we're just trying to go 1-0 again this week and take that approach. With that, I'll take any questions that you got here at the end of the week.
Okay, a reminder to raise your hand if you have a question. We'll let everybody gather their questions and we'll call on the media. And we'll start with Adam Grossbar.
Good morning, Clay. I was just wondering if you have any updates on Nick Figueroa and Jake Lichtenstein.
Yeah, if you saw yesterday, Jake actually practiced yesterday, felt good, made it through the entire practice. So I think we came out good there. Nick just did conditioning. We are going to put him through some individual drills today and see where the reality of that shoulder. I think he's more of a game time decision. I think Jake will be ready to go from what I saw yesterday.
Okay, Ryan Karchi.
Good morning, Clay. Obviously, when Graham was hired, that the thought of an air raid was kind of a very spread out, wide receiver heavy, downfield offense. And this year, you guys obviously played a lot of 12 personnel in that first game. I know you talked about the personnel kind of matching to make the 12 personnel work, but how does 12 personnel specifically help you guys in terms of doing what you always kind of expected the air raid to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it created a great balance last week. If you noticed, even though we used 12 personnel last week, which really vanilla that defense out from a blitz standpoint, it really kept them in a 4-down, 4-man rush mode. Go back and look at the formations. Yeah, even the touchdown catch EK has, it's out of a 10 personnel spread look, So even though we are in 12 personnel, we were not in very much 12 personnel looks. We had the availability to use EK attached while another tight end was flexed. We had both guys flexed. Sometimes we had both guys attached. So it makes it hard on defenses, when you look up and you have guys that can be either big targets at wide receiver positions, or being attached. I mean, do you look at it as, wow, is this a passing personnel group or is this a running personnel group? And to be honest with you, Ryan, it really creates a great sense of balance. Now, each game plan is different based on the tendencies of what we see from another defense. And I thought Graham did a wonderful job last week of doing something that we felt really vanillaed their defense out and kept them pretty much status quo. And it really helped us, we felt, in the run game be efficient, So not to give away game plan this week, but it is something we'll continue to carry 12 personnel, I think, in each and every game. To the latitude of will it be 50 snaps? I don't know that, but it is something that we'll carry because it is, when you talk about having a Jude Wolf and an EK on the field, those are two elite tight ends in our mind. And, you look at the availability of now having a Michael Trigg and the Malcolm Epps that are both healthy and ready to go. It's something that we feel creates big targets and helps us in the run game. And when Graham came here, when he came here from North Texas, one of the things I really loved about him, he really was a guy that took what the defense gave him. It wasn't just, we're going to throw the ball 80 times. You look at what they did. They had 2,000 yards rushing, in his last year there. So that sense of balance to be able to take a little pressure off the quarterback is important. And if it takes 12 personnel in one game to get that done, then we're going to do it. And then other games, it may not be that much. So, but we're very fortunate to have those kids here and helping.
Stanford was typically the Pac-12 team known for using as many tight ends as it could. How much have you seen maybe Stanford kind of tailor that offense a little differently to its personnel last few years?
Yeah, one of the things that you see from Stanford, and has been a trademark of theirs, has really been the athletic tight ends. And in today's game, I'll be honest with you, it's the guys that can really push the field vertically. In recruiting, you're looking for guys that are guys that can be a threat down the field first, and then they bring the physicality and the run game also. And so Stanford's been really good at it. They were kind of the first within our league to be able to say, hey, you know what, a tight end's just not a tight end. He could go spread out. I remember down in the red zone, they'd put tight ends at outside receivers and just toss the ball up, a balloon ball up, and say, hey, let's go jump ball for a touchdown. And they were pretty effective with it. I like the look of our football team right now because you see big targets, whether it's Drake London, at 6'4" plus, or whether it's Malcolm Epps and Michael Trigg at 6'5", or EK or Jude, those type of bodies. It's great. And then you have these electric people that are going to be used even this week with Taj Washington and Gary Bryant and crew. Being able, that mixture creates some effective packages.
A reminder, if you have a question, to raise your hand. Brian Carchi again.
I'll go again. Why not?
We got everybody asleep this morning.
Apparently. Clay, obviously, Keenan, there's been a lot of questions about his role in the running game going forward. Do you anticipate anything this week for him?
Right now, like I said the other day, he's unable to be with team activities, and that's still status quo right now. We'll come into each and every game really leaning on two guys. For the bulk of the game plan. And last week, you look up and it was really Keontae and Vavai that held that down. We want to be able to get those guys in flow, and I thought we did a really good job last week of being able to get those guys 6, 7, 8 reps at a time until really they got tired, and then we put a fresh back in. We're really focusing on mostly having two guys. There may be a third if a guy gets dinged that we put in, but right now those two guys did a really nice job last week. They're both healthy. They're both fresh. I think we'll get Darwin back this week. He looked good yesterday. He can come into play and be able to help us. But to get those guys in flow, where both of them had anywhere from 17 to 19 touches apiece, that's a good day. You're going to get 40 touches probably. If we have an 80-play game, a perfect game would be 40 touches by the running backs and 40 touches by the skill players. And we were right in that balance last week, and that gave each kid an adequate number of touches to really get going. I thought that was one of the reasons we were effective.
Antonio?
Clay, what did you notice about Calum Bullock during the recruiting process? I know he didn't play in the biggest league in California, and he was light. Kind of, what did you notice about him?
Well, one was his range, and two was his playmaking ability and football instincts. We knew. I think we've done a great job of evaluating skill players here, and he was a young man that we really felt that COVID kind of hurt, especially not having an opportunity to be within a training system, to have the nutrition needed, and be able to really. We were very thankful, to be honest with you, Antonio, that he was a midterm graduate and put in the work to be a midterm graduate, because he got with us in January. And you remember, his nickname was Sticks when he first got here. I had to pat Bobby Steiner on the back, and Amy, our nutritionist, for putting 23 pounds on the young man from January to when he played on Saturday. But what we saw was a kid that had great football instincts, great range, playmaking ability, and just flew around the field. And we knew that, it was going to be a development process. We're thankful that we had those 7 months to develop. To say that I'm not surprised that he is where he is right now. But man, I'm really pleased because you never know with freshmen when the light's going to come on, and his came on during training camp, really. And then we always say, make the most of your opportunity, and all of a sudden he gets that opportunity with Isaiah being out, and makes the most of it, and really helped our football team last week win a very important game.
What have you noticed from him trying to eat and put on weight with that stuff?
Yeah, one of the things I really appreciated about him when he got here was just his sense of urgency to be great, and that was in every aspect. It was in his nutrition. I mean, he met Amy Johnson every day, and got his plate checked, how many calories he was taking, and really took pride in that. Watching him in our strength and conditioning program, he walked into every workout and really attacked it. And so that's where this year has been totally, I've just seen from all our kids, just totally different to be able to have 16 weeks of strength and conditioning, something we didn't get the year prior, and to be able to really develop kids and put them in great positions to go make plays. That's been the difference between 2020 and 2021. And thank goodness we've had that time with Calum. I don't think if this would have been last year, he would be ready. But from the development of every phase, from physical to nutrition to even mental, being with Coach Niver and developing, being a student of the game and learning this system. He's a great example of what college football should be, is developing young men to play the game. And a credit to Bobby and Amy and Coach Niver for getting that kid ready to make big plays in that opening game.
Okay, we'll go back again to Ryan Karchi.
Why not, Tim? Clay, what's the next step in Manjak's development? And do you anticipate Gary Bryant, his return, kind of eating into maybe some of the snaps that Joseph would have gotten?
I think with Gary, it opens up more personnel groupings. Definitely. I tell you what, Gary has had an unbelievable week of work. So I think you'll see him not only offensively, but you'll see him in some special team situations. We love him with the ball in his hands, and we have some specific packages for him to be able to get on the field, as well as be contribute in a major way. So we're carrying more personnel groupings in this game. Not to dive into the specifics, but we're healthier out at the position right now. And being able to get a Gary back is important. It was nice to have Taj make some big plays in his opening game. To have a Gary back, to continue to develop a Manjak, to get a John Jackson, a Kyle Ford, a Katie Nixon, to have that contribution that those kids can have, provide us some really good depth. And I think some good effectiveness. So I look forward to watching this week as we kind of increase the personnel packages and be able to hopefully, throw off Stanford a little bit by being able to dive in and out of things that we think are effective.
And with Manjak, what do you see as the next step?
One of the things that you walk into the first game and you're playing a freshman, it's like Calum. You just hope their assignment was that they go to the right place. And one thing that we've seen from Joseph is, the availability to be very sound in assignments. And I know the ball didn't come his way a ton the other day based on the coverages that we're getting. It really, when you look at it, it really dictated the outside receivers making the plays, and that's where most of the balls went to based on coverage. And so, hopefully he gets the opportunity to get some balls come his way. But as far as getting out there, doing his job and being assignment sound and being effective within it, he did a nice job in his opening game. That's probably the biggest fear, is you walk out there and freshmen get the big eyes and they start doing things that they hadn't been doing in practice. And Kalen, as well as Joseph, I thought did a really nice job of just doing their job. And sometimes that job means balls are flying your way and you got big plays to make. And last week it was eating up free safeties and eating up underneath coverage, and it ended up opening up the outside.
Okay, Clay, I don't see any. Oh, we'll take one last question. Eric McKinney just got in there.
Thanks, Tim. Clay, trying to play 7 offensive linemen, I don't believe that's something we've seen you guys do before in your time here. Have there been any differences in how to prep for that, or how to kind of deal with that during the games compared to just throwing 5 guys out there on every snap?
No, in today's time, when you're playing 80 plays, to be able to spell guys and take a little bit of play number count off them helps. We have done it before. I mean, there's one of the reasons Jordan Simmons is in the NFL right now. I remember him being the 6th man and being able to go in for 15, 20 snaps a game and really helping us. And as that 6th man he was able to get in an NFL training camp, and obviously has had an effective NFL career. So, you have guys that have play 6, 7 guys. We are very fortunate to have Justin Dedich and get Jalen McKenzie right now. You're talking about 4th and 5th year guys that have a lot of experience, and we're able to spell. We're able to spell rep counts that could, as you look at it and as you go down through hopefully 15 games, can save bodies and be able to have fresh bodies at the end of games too. Plus by doing that, you never know, you're one snap away. It's just like last game. All of a sudden I get tapped on the shoulder and say, hey, Cortland Ford's finger is dislocated, and you don't know how long it's going to take to put it back in, tape it up, and get them back out there. And to be able to have those actual reps in games makes you a more effective offensive line for when that happens. We move Jonah over, Jalen comes up to right tackle and ready to go, and to be able to provide Justin with reps, as well as being able to take a little bit off of Leon and Andrew at the guard positions. I think it's going to make us a more effective offensive line and a fresher offensive line, and hopefully a healthier offensive line as we go through a long season.
Okay, Clay, thank you for joining us on media. Also, thank you. A reminder that Saturday's game is Joint Forces Day at the Coliseum. There'll be 5,000 plus military personnel and first responders there, both current and former. And it's also the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and there will be a pregame ceremony in honor of that anniversary. So if you want to mention that, we'd appreciate it. So with that, thanks everybody for joining us. See you Saturday.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care.